We're on. Okay. We're good. Alright, peeps. Check it out. It is Friday night. It is time for the Friday night show. If you guys are seeing this on YouTube and this before Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, hit us back up again at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can catch our show again. We are going to be running these twice. Until further notice, we're going to be running them twice. That way we catch all of our peeps, both across the water and here in the States. Now, Murder has come up with something he wanted to talk about. I know just enough to get myself in trouble, but Murder, he's pretty much, in our group of people, he's my guru. So, we're going to leave it at that. But, so, Murder, you found a new pathway to roles in IT support. What is exactly IT? Let's start with that.
What is IT?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's information technology. Yes, we get that. But what is it as far as when people are out there getting that professional certificate? What is it that you're going through right now in school? And what is it that will be happening for you once you're done?
Sorry, I had to fix my headset there.
No worries.
What is IT? Yeah, information technology. Information technology covers a lot of different things, a very broad range. Most people relate it to computer related, but it really covers cell phones, anything electronic. In the new age, I guess you could say, anything that's connected to the internet or can connect you to the internet. It's really just any technology in general. But this new pathway to roles in IT support. So IT support can be anything from, hey, my printer won't print, to, my phone's not working right, or my computer won't connect to the internet. A lot of things that me and you have people ask us all the time anyway.
Oh, yes.
Computer related issues, game related stuff, setting up servers, setting up OBS. I mean, stuff like that. That's all IT or tech support. There are parts of IT support that go more in depth than just, my printer won't work or my computer won't turn on, stuff like that. Things that I'm doing in school are way more in depth. They're on the server side of the internet as a broad subject. As like your internet service provider being able to provide you internet, they get internet from somebody else. So things that I'm doing are securing companies like your ISP or like Google, securing them so that they can provide secure access to their services or to keep hackers out, things like that. I mean, that's also considered IT support. So
yeah, IT securities then basically is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the average starting salary that I've read is that its average starting is $52,000. How close do you think that is to being correct? Do you think that's like right on par, or do you think that's kind of a little bit low ball, high ball?
It all depends on your location, the company, things like that. I'd say that's a good mid range. That's not a high number. That's not a low number. I mean, you could talk low numbers, small areas that, not big metropolis type places. You may get a company that'll pay you $35 a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's low end. High end, I mean, God, there's no telling. You can make high end is whatever number you want to think of.
Oh, I can think of $1 million an hour. You know what I'm saying?
you go get chief technology officer at some of these companies like Google and Microsoft, you make $1 million a year.
Oh, I bet.
So for my field in particular, one of the first classes we had to take was we had to do a project where we researched our field of study, research different companies. Glassdoor.com is a good place to go to find out your average pay for all sorts of different jobs. They do a lot, mainly in IT type work, but they also cover other things. But we had to go research, find out how much you could make doing this, doing that, the different titles you can be given. So most of them I came up with because mine is cyber and network security. So um, on average, you could get a network security administrator, which is just pretty much you're not a manager or nothing. You're a normal security administrator of someone's. You work on it in part of a team in an IT department. National average for the salary is $63,000.
That's not bad.
No, you can go all the way up to some of these companies. Network security director is one of the titles. That's you're not chief technology officer. You're not the big guy sitting on the board of directors or nothing. But you're head of your IT security department, stuff like that. National average is $137,000. So I mean, you got a pretty decent range there. You can do your own thing and network security consultant if you want to run your own consultant business. Tell people whether or not they have what they need. 76,000 national average. Security analyst. You want to go into somebody's company that already has a security set up and tell them whether it's good enough or not. Pretty much you go in and test it and see if you can hack in or not. See how strong it is. National average on that's 90,000. So I mean those are just some averages of different things in what I'm doing. But there are many fields of IT support.
Yeah. Now, this thing that you had found, it was on Google, and it's basically Google is got a program, and it's called Grow with Google. And what they're doing is they're trying to help people get the skills to find jobs, and this just happens to be one of those things. Now, how good of a program do you think that this is, or have you think that this is kind of a little bit inferior in comparison to other programs out there for getting the certificates?
I've actually looked at this and found a couple other things on the Google site and mind went blank. An IT support forum for like IT professionals where they go and talk about different things. This isn't bad. So you're getting a Google IT support professional certificate is what this program's offering. Now, you're not talking about an associate's or a bachelor's degree or anything like that, but it's a certificate. And what this does actually, and the reason Google's offering it, you do this, top percentage of the people that complete this, you can go apply and get a job with Google. Now, what you get with Google as an IT support professional certificate, you're pretty much, you call them up, hey, my Google Chrome's messing up, and they walk you through how to fix it. You're low level, you're entry level. You're not really in the IT department. You're the phone call help desk guy.
Yeah.
But still, it's with a company like Google, so you get your foot in the door doing something like this. It's worth it because then you can turn around, continue an education, and move up in the company and make a lot more money with them.
Well, that is very much true. Now, they did say that you don't have to have any previous experience. Beginning learners can become an entry level job ready in 8 to 12 months. That's just to get the basics. Like you said, there's no associates, there's no bachelors. It's a certificate, and most of your certificate programs are anywhere between 8 to 12 months anyway, depending on the type of certificate you're trying to go for.
Now, in the forum that I was looking through, it's the one that I'll have to try to get a link to it later. IT professionals go in and talk about different subjects and stuff. And I went in and Googled this program actually, and that forum came up as one of the things they were talking about. So the certificate they're saying is equivalent to getting an A+ certification. An A+ certification is your baseline computer technician certification. It says that you know how a computer works, you know how to fix it. Yeah, you can diagnose most things. They're not gonna, they're not gonna give you access to, here's the key to our server room, and you go start fixing our servers. But it says that you know enough to be able to diagnose and repair or talk somebody through fixing common everyday problems.
And it also gives people an understanding that, okay, this person has got their certificate. They can actually go and get their associates or their bachelor's in IT and specialize. So it's just basically it's a starting point, really, is what it boils down to, that Google is giving people as a starting point, right?
Yeah, and another good thing about this, you look a little further down the page underneath the video of the dude and the chick looking at the laptop. It's actually right towards the bottom of the page. It says they offer full financial assistance for this class, which is also another good thing, because usually you only get that with certain colleges or universities. Before you get financial aid, Google is willing to assist in the finances of taking this certification class.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's a good thing that they're willing to help people who are willing to help themselves, is what this boils down to. If you're willing to help yourself, they're going to help you. And if you do get a job with Google, I've seen a couple of their facilities, and holy shit, their facilities are huge. They have their own cafeterias. They have their staff parking, which is just huge staff parking. They have a daycare on site, so they have people there. If you can't, find a babysitter, guess what? You got one right downstairs. You're only just a few floors away from your kids.
Google facilities are, they're almost like miniature cities, really. Well, the one in California, especially, their main headquarters in California is ridiculously large. Anything and everything you can think of is there on the quote unquote campus of work. But I mean, even their other facilities, you look it up online and look at some of the maps, the layouts and stuff. They're like miniature cities right there where you work at.
Now, there was a show, let's see, what was it? It was on, I believe it was on the Science Channel or one of those channels like that. And they showed the Google facilities, and they showed how immensely it was just so big. And they were saying that they have cars for during work hours. If you need to go make a run to go do something and come back, they've got electric cars already plugged in waiting for you, so you don't have to use your own car. Just use the company vehicle, sign it out, and go. And I was like, holy shit, the company really does look like it takes care of its people. So
yeah, they do a really good job of taking care of their employees.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I was just reading it as I went down to where you were talking about that. They were talking about since the training is just the first step, they're willing to help with job searches. And once you complete that certificate, and you can actually go to work for, like it says here, Bank of America, Walmart, Sprint, GE Digital, PNC Bank, Infosystems, Tech Systems, UPMC, and they say, of course, Google. They're all looking to hire IT support.
Yeah, and like I said, it's an entry level thing. So you're not gonna go to Bank of America or even Walmart or anybody, and they'll be like, hey, here's a key to our server room. Go fix our security system.
Yeah.
Our network security and stuff. They're not gonna do that. You'll get in and be like, hey, this computer is acting up at this person's desk or this person's cubicle or whatever. You do stuff like that, which is still a perfectly good and decent paying job for, getting a certificate through Google.
Yes, yeah, it is. Now, talking about the IT and things of the sort, your specialty of IT is going to be, network security, as you said, right?
It will be a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity with a specialization in cloud computing.
Okay. Now, you've spent quite a bit of time so far in doing your schooling since I've known you.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as making the jump from just getting that certificate to put your foot in the door to actually getting this degree, is that something that you would suggest people to do if they can't just jump straight into college?
I mean, if IT is something you're wanting to do,
Yes.
and you're not sure if you want to put in the time, because I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of freaking work to get through some of these classes. But if you're wanting to get into IT, then yeah, absolutely. If Google can carry enough credit, can carry enough validity through this certificate for people like Bank of America and PNC Bank, Walmart and Sprint, all those other places to say, yeah, your certificate's valid with us, then absolutely, this would be a great way to start, get your foot in, do some of the work and see if you like it. Maybe you're, my nephew right now, all right, he's always been manual labor type jobs, manufacturing plants, things like that. He's not dumb. He's just never really had an interest in computer type stuff. But now he's enrolled at a local tech school, and he wants to do, which we'll see how it goes. Everybody's got their own taste. Who knows? He may be great at it, but he wants to jump right in, and he's taking classes for computer programming. That's rough. Computer programming is rough, but this certificate would be great to get your foot in the door, find out, do some of the work, do the job, find out if you like it, and then by all means, some of these companies will even help pay for your school. Go to school while you work for them, and then get your degree if that's what you like to do.
Hold on one second. Okay, I was just making sure, clarifying exactly what I was going to say before I said it because I didn't want to get it wrong. Now, Searchy has her master's degree in business administration, and then she has a bachelor's in computer engineering, more so on the software side of computer engineering, but a little bit of the hardware side. So, making a jump from doing IT work to doing something like that really is not too far-fetched when you think about it.
No, I wasn't saying it was a far jump. There is a difference from taking classes to get a certificate and taking classes for a bachelor's degree. There's a whole lot more involved.
Well, what I meant is when you get your say you go and get your associates or your bachelor's in IT, after you've gotten your certificate, okay? So you've got your certificate, you've got your foot in the door, you're continuing your education. Now you want something more, okay? So you then, put your foot in the door for getting your MBA. The MBA would be a fine addition to getting your associates and your bachelor's. A lot of people don't realize that, but it really would give you a little bit more leg room for getting up within a company. The computer engineering portion like I was saying, is it's once you got your IT certificate and you're working for your degree in IT, whether it's an associate's or bachelor's, you can make a jump if you wanted to doing computer engineering. It just wouldn't be that much of a jump than just jumping right into computer engineering, not knowing anything.
Well, see, you've got to define computer engineering because it's kind of a broad field. Going from talking about this certificate to computer engineering, it's a little different.
Well, see, and that's the thing, though. I think that, when you're talking about IT work and you're talking about doing all these different things in IT, like what you're doing is even more so specialized than just getting a certificate. You're working with computers. You're working with computer structures, software structure. You're not only working with just hardware, you're working with software. So making a career change, I would have to say, is ultimately what I was thinking of saying, is making a career change going into computer engineering on the software side of things. It's really, I'm not going to say it's just the same. It's just not going to take you as much of a jump to do something like that if IT work becomes something you don't want to do anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all technically IT work. Unless you go software side, I mean, the rest of it, it's all IT work anyway. But now the question will be, with this certificate, if any of it, I mean, I don't know, because it would depend on the school. But like, if you get this certificate, then decide you want an associate's or a bachelor's, and you want to pick a school to go to, how much of this certificate, if any, will count towards credits for that school, so classes you don't have to take? Or if it doesn't count towards any, you've got to do the whole 4 years for a bachelor's anyway, even though you have this certificate.
Yeah. And that's the other part of it, though. I think that, Google probably looked at that, and there are a few colleges out there that would accept it, but then there's probably a lot of them that are like, no, you're Google.
If it's like they were talking about in that forum, it's the equivalent of an A+ certification. The knowledge you attain from getting this certificate is about the same amount of knowledge you would need to pass an A+ certification. Then I know if you go to a college with an A+ certification already, it doesn't take off a lot of classes, honestly. Depending on what you're going for, it'll take off the basic computer classes, intro to computers, intro to operating systems, things like that. How to configure, how to calculate binary and hexadecimal numbers and stuff. Just the basics of it. It's not really going to cover anything more in depth than that. It's not gonna count towards, of course it's a whole nother certification, but it's not going to count towards, okay, well, you don't have to take this Cisco class, to set up these routers and switches. Well, that's a whole nother certification. That's Net Plus. But I mean, it's only going to count for your basic classes. So that would be one thing you would have to ask Google if you wanted to start with this certificate, what type of accreditation they're given for these classes, and then what, if any, portion of the certificate classes could be transferred to a 2 or 4 year college.
Yeah. And before I had to drop my classes for game simulation programming, that itself was, I'm going to tell you, you're jumping feet first into something that is like a deep well. I mean, seriously, that was just one hellacious jump. And if it wasn't for the fact that I kind of knew what I was doing, then I would have never made it as far as I did. Like a few people who thought that it would be easy to do game and simulation programming, and within the first 3 months of the first year, they were done. They just couldn't do it. They were constantly complaining about how hard this was, how this was and how that was. Just wasn't for them. And so, this, I think, like you said, just starting off, this would be something to start off with.
Yeah, it's a good way to find out if that's something you want to continue to do.
Mm-hmm.
Continue, because I mean, if even with all right, so I get this 4-year bachelor's degree, right? I'm not done with my education. I will continue taking classes, recertifying. At least every 2 years, you're going to have to recertify for some of these certificates. So you're continually learning, continually having to go to classes, learn about new tech that comes out, learn how to set it up, how to work it, ins and outs, dream this stuff in your sleep. So the certificate is a good starting point to find out if you want to continue any further, because with IT, it's always changing. So you are never going to stop learning even after you're done with school.
Yeah. And I think that that's with a lot of computers, as far as computer work or computer jobs, is you're always learning new things, always learning something new, new way to do this, or somebody develops a new code. If you're a programmer, somebody develops a new code, it happens to be better than the last year's model of code. So yeah, there's always going to be constant schooling. So anyway, now Serge, you did say that certificates are always looked on as good to go with degrees, and sort of like continuing education credits getting certificates. Yeah, I mean, like look at Microsoft. How many certificates does Microsoft have just for Microsoft Office?
Oh, for Office?
Yeah, Microsoft Office.
2, I think.
5.
For Office, and I mean, if you count
You
Windows
got
and other things, yeah.
no. You've got PowerPoint. There's a certificate for PowerPoint. There's a certificate for Word. There's a certificate for Excel. There's a certificate for Access, and there's a certificate for what's another one? Outlook. There are 5 certificates you can get for Office.
I mean, kindergartners get certificates wiping their ass, but I mean,
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, though. If you look at it, people are, there are certificates for anything and everything out there. How good they are is a different story. But
well, when you look at stuff like you're digging down deep there with the certificates for each part of Microsoft Office. You're not going to get a certificate in Microsoft Word and then go to Bank of America and be like, hey, I want a job. I got this certificate. They're going to be like, yay, I can take that class online for like $5 and print off a certificate. I mean, it's not really that. It's not looked upon as that hard to do. You know what? I mean, it's not a big. You got a certificate, yay! But I mean, that's like everybody gets a trophy nowadays, kind of bullshit.
well,
But
then, but what I'm saying is that certificate. If you say you grab nothing but certificates your whole life, okay, and you're continuing your training with certificates, and you've got certificates upon certificates of different fields of out there, whether obviously Microsoft Office, obviously internet, not internet, IT, information technology, or getting a Cisco certificate versus getting the degree and going through all those other classes for it, or any of those other things, you could still get a decent job just using certificates. But when you're continuing your education, using just like we're talking here, the IT, and then going on from there, you can obviously do better and make more money.
yeah, you can. But I mean, I don't want to put it out there that hey, you can just go get this certificate from Google and then get this certificate and this certificate and this certificate. Go get all your participation trophies that you want to, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be IT manager one day. I mean, it's not gonna add up to. If it's something that you want to do and you like it, that's good, that's great, because IT is not going anywhere. It's just getting bigger. But don't just rely on, hey, I just go get a bunch of certificates and I'm good to go. It's not going to be the same as going and getting a degree. People are going to look at it different. Yes, you're qualified in certain areas, but you're not knowledgeable enough in the ones that they're looking for.
You are correct in saying that. And I was just saying that you could use them to get a job, to make money. But when you're continuing your education, it's going to be different.
Yeah, they're good foot in the door, good starter, good to show that, you know, hey, I've learned this, you know, and then you know, you let them know that, hey, I plan on continuing and doing more, or getting a degree or whatever. But it's good to show that, hey, I'm knowledgeable in this to get these entry level positions. That's a great way to get entry level positions without having to, you know, go the degree route right off the bat.
Yeah, and ultimately, you could go to work for a company that will pay you and pay for your schooling, and you still get a job. You still have a job. You know,
oh yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean,
A lot of these companies will help you pay for your school. If, like you said, if not completely pay for your schooling, if it's, you know, something that basically they're going to look at it as something that they can use later on. Hey, you're going to school, you got an entry level position at our help desk because you got these certificates. That's great. You want to go to school? Oh, you want to take you know, computer programming, and, you know, we're a software company. Great. You know what? We're going to pay for that, because when you're done, we want you to, most places will, you know, hey, sign a year or 2 year contract. When you're done with school, you keep working with us.
Yeah, but I mean, that contract doesn't state that you're not going to have, or, you know, it's not, let's see how, it's just stating that you're going to keep working for them. And they're not saying that they're just going to limit the amount of money that you're going to make. You know, because once they got you into that position, once they got you into that job, you know, that's one, experience that you'll be getting. Two, that'll be, you know, once you're done with that 1 year, 2 year contract, you can market yourself with somebody else, or after that contract's up, say, hey, I want more money, and you can get more money. You know,
they're not necessarily contracts for, you know, this is how much we're going to pay you and this is how long. Most of them are contracts that, hey, if we're going to pay for your school, it doesn't have anything to do with salary. It's just keep working with us for 1 year or 2 years after you graduate, so that we get our money's worth out of you.
Yeah. They did that to my son with his CDL when he went to work for CR England. He had to sign a year contract, and they got him his CDL, and he had to fulfill his 1 year contract, or else he could not work anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's one of those things that, you know, you got to look at. Is it something for you? Like you said, is it going to make your life easier? Is it going to make your life better? If so, go for it. If not, find something else. Does anybody have any questions about this particular subject? Because if not, we're going to move on to something that's a little bit more fun. Just a little bit.
IT's fun.
Well, yeah, when he's carrying around a red balloon.
I have fun breaking shit and then watching everybody else try to fix it.
Just leave out one letter in a line of code and you break it.
Well, yeah, one of both my routing and switching classes, the intro and the advanced, I picked up on really quick in the first one, and the teacher saw that. So anytime we had a lab, my job was to go around. I was plugged into a switch that was connected to all of them.
Yeah.
So he would have me log into the different routers people were setting up and just do random things to make it mess up and see if they could figure out what was changed. And my favorite one was going in and telling the router not to save the config file. So then when they went to reboot it after they made their changes, it doesn't save it. It reverts back to the beginning, and none of the stuff they put in They spent 20, 30 minutes putting in settings. They reboot it, and it's right back to out of the box, and they're like, what the fuck? Oh, y'all forgot to double check and make sure that it was set to, usually you can set them to autosave. So what I do is I'd turn off the autosave. So if you didn't tell it to save the config file before you rebooted, you just lost everything you did.
Yeah, see, and that's one of those things that, you learn right away, at least I did, is saving your work. Now, the intervals in which you save the work is different, but
another fun one was to go in and change their passwords to like their admin passwords, because they would stick. You don't have to change it, but we were always told it's good practice to, if you get a job somewhere and you're in charge of IT, change the passwords from the one that the guy before you had. So don't leave them the same. And they wouldn't change them. They'd just keep the default password that the teacher gives them. So I'd go in and change them, and then they couldn't even log in to change their settings. And what's wrong? And then they'd have to at that point, you've got to go in and what they call breaking into the router and manually go through the command line and clear the password and reset it. But those are always fun to do too.
Yeah. All right. So nobody had any questions. Is there anything that you would want to throw out there for people about this before we move on?
About the certificate or IT in general?
Well, the IT certificate.
Like I say, if you think you want to get into it, let's see, does it say how much this thing costs?
$49 a month.
How many months?
Yeah, that's the part I didn't see.
Okay, it says can become entry-level job ready in 8 to 12 months.
Yeah, but at the very bottom, the cost is, okay, to ensure job seekers from all backgrounds have access to the program, we're subsidizing the cost of the certificate on Coursera, however you pronounce that shit, to $49 a month and providing financial support to more than 10,000 learners in the United States. They're need-based scholarships that are funded by Google.org grants and offered through nonprofit like Year Up, Per Scola, Goodwill, Student, Veterans of America, and Upward Global.
Yeah. So, all right, just take an average between the two. They said 8 to 12 months, so 10 months, $49, $490.
Yeah.
You're looking at $500 for a certificate. To be completely honest, even with in order for me to graduate with a bachelor's degree, I have to have certain certificates. It's not an option. You have to have A plus and Net plus. I think I want to take the CCNA also, but we'll see how that goes because I've heard it's pretty hard. Most of these certificates, $500 is the average to low end cost of getting one of these ICT certificates anyway. So if this is counting as classes and getting a certificate and you can get your foot in the door with this thing, yeah, go this route. If you're not sure you want to do a 2 or 4 year degree, but you want a job in IT and you're looking to start entry level and get see what kind of experience you can get and what it feels like, do this. That is affordable. The CCNA certificate, I believe, is upward like $1,000. I mean, some of these are ridiculous. $500 is a good average to low end cost.
Yeah.
And they break it down. They break it down to a monthly cost or charge, and they're willing to help with financial assistance. This is worth it. This is, in my opinion, 100% worth doing if you're interested in IT work.
Yes.
That is a bargain right there.
Now, that being said, if you knew there was a program like this before you started your school, would you have taken it?
Yes, honestly, yeah. I'd have done this to get my foot in the door so that I like IT. I love computers and servers. They give me a headache sometimes, but I like working with them. It's just something I've always enjoyed, even years before I even got into school and all this stuff. People had call me up and be like, "Hey, my computer's acting up." I'd go over and look at it and not
Yeah.
always fix it, but most of the time fix it. It was fun for me to figure out the challenge of what's wrong with it and can it be fixed. So if this was available before I had started school, yes, I would have taken this first to at least get in the door somewhere, be working in IT, then probably go to school.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here, peeps. Murder would have taken the certificate.
To start with.
He would have drank the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
All right, so we're moving on to this next deal here. This is something that Murder found. He thought it was interesting. I think it's interesting to a point. To a point. But it is a wireless headset called Vinci 2.0. And it is the world's first standalone smart wireless headphone. Now, it's already through Kickstarter. It's already been done in Kickstarter. Kickstarter, they crushed it in Kickstarter. They were only asking for $20,000 to get started. They ended it with $885,608, and they had over 6,300 backers for this. Now, it states here that you can leave your phone behind because the music, calls, and fitness tracker are all in one, and they're voice controlled with the AI with 15,000 skills with Alexia. And they are noise counseling. But you still hear Alexia. They need to filter that noise out.
Only when you talk to her. Only when you
ask her to. Yeah, only when you talk to her. And people who, search you, they know I can't stand those little IT box, or not IT, what are they called? AI boxes. I can't stand those damn things. They're going to ruin the world. They're going to ruin the world. Tinfoil hat. I need one. I need one. So anyway, when you found this Murder, what was the first thing you thought
of? When I first saw it, the thing that I don't even remember where I caught it at. There's no telling where it popped up that led me to the Kickstarter thing. I like Bluetooth wireless headsets. I just think it's a cool technology. Anything wireless. We've had wireless for years, starting with the first cordless phones and stuff. They were always cool. It's just interesting. Like, wow, I don't have to have a cord anymore. I can walk around. Bluetooth came out, and I mean, I'm a tech guy. Bluetooth first came out. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. It's still wireless, but now it's a different type of signal. It's encrypted. You can't, it's way harder to hack into. The original cordless phones, anybody with a scanner could sit there and listen to your phone conversation in your house.
Oh, definitely, because of the the hertz that it would run on.
Yeah, there's no security at all. You could pick up that radio frequency easy. All right, so then they come out with different megahertz to try to keep people from getting those, and then you've got VoIP, which can be done wirelessly through Wi-Fi. Then you got Bluetooth, and Bluetooth is way more encrypted, harder and harder to hack into, more secure. Things like that always amaze me. So I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, another Bluetooth headset. But then I started reading about it, and it's not just a Bluetooth headset. It's a phone. It's a fitness tracker, like a Fitbit or Fitbitch. It's a Fitbitch. Like a Fitbitch. There's one in the pictures down there. A Fitbit that goes on your wrist. You like that, don't you? At least we got Grim laughing this time.
Oh.
So I was looking at it. I was like, you know what? This is a cell phone. This is a music player. This is your fitness tracker, all in one. It's not, my phone's in my pocket. I'm listening to music because I have my Bluetooth on or whatever. And, you got your little fitness watch and everything. This is all built in to one.
Yeah, and it fits right around your neck. And that was the one thing that when I was reading it, it takes your heart rate and all of that from your neck.
Yep, your breathing, your heart
Yeah.
rate, and everything through the sensors on it. The only thing I don't like, I'm kind of a big guy. I got a little bit thicker neck than skinny people do. It looks like it would be not really squeezing hard, but pressed up against your neck all the time.
It'd be like a Vulcan neck bench.
I have one of those LG Bluetooth, the little earpiece is magnetically clicked to the bottom of the thing, but the thing sits around your neck the whole time. One of those. I've got one of those. I quit using it after a while because my neck's a little thicker. It's always pressed up against the side of my neck instead of just resting on my collarbone or something. And that's kind of what this looks like. But I can understand that because it needs the sensors. It needs the sensors to monitor, heart rate, breathing, stuff like that. That's understandable. Yeah. But to me, over a period of time, it would become uncomfortable. But other than that, it was a cool piece of tech, phone, MP3 player, fitness tracker, everything all in one. And it even does the hand gesture, so you don't have to always touch any touch buttons on it or anything. You can move your hand a certain way past it and, skip to the next track, pause, answer a phone call, whatever.
Yeah, and it does have Alexa in it, so you can also just use your voice to get Alexa. Well, they say hi Vinci, which is not Alexa, but it's the same thing. You're talking directly to it, it understands you and does what you ask it to do.
Oh yeah, and I mean I know they're annoying to hear them talk to you, but a lot of commands you can give them, they don't have to respond. But you can tell them to do a lot of call people, set an alarm, set a timer, set a date in a calendar, play certain songs. They do a lot of things for you. So that's one of the reasons I thought this was kind of cool, and that all of this stuff is packed into that. And when you look at it, it's not very big. They've packed all these different types of technology into a little thin thing that goes around your neck.
Yeah, I mean, it's that micro technology that back when we were growing up was science fiction.
Yeah, I guess what I like about these when new things like this comes out, wireless stuff, things like that, any type of new tech, I'm always like, ooh, I'm a Trekkie, and to me, this is Star Trek.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Now
it's Star Trek coming true. Everybody's like, oh, Star Trek science fiction. No, they had touchscreen panels on Star Trek way before we ever did. But guess what? We got them now.
You're right, Sergi. They are little tiny transformers spying on me. Now this here, it states that it does have a 16 gigabyte of storage. So I mean, that's a lot of music that you can haul around with this. It does have Wi-Fi. You can make phone calls. You can use, it says here 3G, so it's not 4G capable, which you really wouldn't need 4G with this anyway.
Well, give them time. They'll come out with a 4G version. It's just a matter of swapping out the chip in it. I mean, honestly, they get approval, phone carriers to agree to, have this headset connect to their services. They'll put a 4G chip in these things eventually.
Oh, definitely. I can see that. But at the moment now, it's just sitting with a 3G.
Yeah.
Because it really only needs that 3G to even operate. It doesn't need all those extra things.
Yeah, you have a point, because I mean, you don't have, and the 16 gigs, a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, that's not much, I got that much on my phone and it's almost full, but you're not loading apps onto this thing. You don't have a screen to look at and play video games on and all that stuff. It's storing music and it's making phone calls, and it's got the software for the fitness tracking stuff. So all that 16 gigs, you're not taking pictures with it. So that's really just storing music and stuff on it.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at a genuine basic MP3 player.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the 4G, 4G LTE, that's really for your data. It's not for your phone calls. So yeah, like you said, 3G, plenty. You don't need any more because all you're doing is making phone calls on it.
Yeah, definitely. Now it does direct stream from Spotify, Amazon Music, and from SoundCloud. So you can get direct streaming from those three different things.
Yeah, which may be, like I said before, they will eventually put a 4G chip in it, but that would be the only reason why is to streaming your music. Because, like I said, you're not downloading apps and playing games on it.
Yeah, and see, and this is something that's on the spectrum of running with Amazon. Okay, being that it is Alexa and stuff. So this here, it won't be too much before Amazon actually gets into having phone service.
Oh yeah,
and
Amazon's
using something
own
like
everything
this.
eventually.
Well, Amazon and Google, because those two
Yeah,
are button
they're
heads.
own everything.
Those two are button heads anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think this guy started out as an online digital bookstore, and now you can buy everything, including the kitchen sink, from him.
Yep. And after the end of the show, I'll tell you what else you can buy from them.
Uh-oh. Does
Actually,
she have a funny name?
No, she doesn't. No, and speaking, oh no, I can't even say that right now. It was on Facebook. Oh dear God, seriously, people just need to quit. So anyway, this particular headset, it does have a standalone music playback. It does have a direct phone call maker, so you can make phone calls with it. It does have up to 16 gigs of storage. You can have more than, or you have less than 16, but not more than 16. You do direct streaming from Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon. It does do activity trackers and a heart rate monitor. And then on the voice controls, you do have your skill voice controls. You have standard voice control, gesture control, like you were saying before. And retail price is $149. And through Kickstarter, if you were with Kickstarter, going through Kickstarter, you can get it for $89.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a pretty good deal. Now they compare this to the AirPods. The AirPods are similar, but the AirPods don't have a music playback. They don't have the ability to make calls. They don't have an internal storage. There is a phone required in order to use streaming services. There's a phone required in order to use voice control. It does not have an activity tracker, does not have a heart rate monitor, does not have Alexa, it does not have gesture control, and it's $159.
Yeah. I mean,
So
like you said, it requires a phone for all that. It's pretty much a fancy Bluetooth headset. That's all it is. Whereas this is everything all in one.
Yeah, definitely.
And another good thing about this, if anybody's looking at the Kickstarter page, if you scroll down about halfway, you'll see where it shows the different angles and 86 grams for the weight. If you scroll down just a little bit more, you have this weird lady like being possessed by demons, and it's actually kind of fun.
You talk about the video?
Yeah, the poltergeist chick down near the bottom, or about halfway down the page.
Yeah, I did. I scrolled right past her because she scared me.
They're trying to demonstrate that they're not going to fall out of your ears. It ain't going to fall off your neck. But she just looks funny doing that.
Now, they are saying they're using bone conduction for the mic, which is the old style, pilots had the old bone conduction where they actually had to hold it to their throat to talk through their headsets. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's basically the exact same thing they're using, except for you don't have to hold it now. It's just automatically there. And it does say that this technology is deployed in mission-critical situations like military and emergency services, and for near-field voice recognition. Of course, it's just something that would be really easy to make it so that you couldn't hear anything else. You can only hear the voice of the person. You can't hear ambient noises.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, it has music. Does give you for the workouts. It does have a GPS in it, so you can track your how far you ran, where you're running to, all of those different things as well. Now, I see the gesture control part. Now, this is what would get me, is what if you're one of those people who runs, and you run with your hands going all the way up here, then all the way back, all the way up here, all the way back. You're constantly changing music.
But it also says that you can turn off. You don't have to use the hand gestures.
I know. I was just, it was just one of those things. What if you have it on? What if you're running?
It would be
and
kind of
all
weird.
of a sudden you're running and your hands going back and forth, and you think your headset's broken when it's actually your gesture control. Noticing your hand running past your face. Would you try it if it was given to you to try?
Would I try it if what?
If somebody gave it to you to try it, would you try it?
Oh yeah. I would. I wouldn't buy one because, like I said, I think that after a while it would become uncomfortable and I wouldn't like it. But if they gave it to me to try, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, it does state here that they do support 20 plus languages, which is including German, Japanese, Spanish, French, and Italian, and English, obviously. English US, English UK, and English India. They actually specify that here. Sorry, peeps. If you get offended, it's not my fault. That's what they wrote. So, I mean, anybody around the world could use this. Ultimately, anyone can use it as long as you have, the ability to use it. Now, the colors it comes in are different. They have red, white, blue, and black, I think, is what it was. It does have a charging set where you put it on a charger. The charger can give it a charge time of up to 168 hours for standby use, 20 hours for Bluetooth playback, and 8 hours for local playtime. It does say that it runs 3D sound as well. That's actually kind of cool, giving you 3D sound. If you buy the Benji 2.0 Super, that is the one that comes with the actual bone conduction mic. The other two do not. And that one actually is 32 gigabytes of local storage instead of the 16 gigabytes.
That's nice.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yep, red, white, blue, and black. And, here we go. The tech specs, all the way near the bottom. I was looking for the tech specs, I couldn't find them. There they are. You're looking at, they run 1 gigabyte of RAM inside of these things. They run at 1.3 gigahertz processor, which is a Cortex A7 quad core. Holy shit balls. It does have a gyrometer, an accelerometer, a compass, GPS, heart rate monitors. Like we said before, Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon, 3G cellular. You can configure it for 2 different setups. You got config A, which is for bands 1 and 8, and then config for B is for bands 2 and 5. So basically, you can set this up however you need to for 3G service. But I think you would still have to register it with a phone company, though, in order to get that service.
Oh, yeah.
The two lower brands, the 2.0 Lite and the 2.0 Pro, use a dual mic array instead of using bone conduction. If you get the Super, that uses the bone conduction mic. Yeah, I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I think that the only thing that could happen with this is it can only get better. In all honesty, as long as they stay on this, I'm sure this thing could get better and better and better. And eventually, this would be the new phones. And then with a little eyepiece that, Bluetooth to it, so you got a Bluetooth within a Bluetooth, and you can sit there and Google with your eyes.
Oh, speaking of which, I got a new one we can do for next week.
Okay.
I'll link it to you. It'll go along with this pretty good.
Okay. All right. Now their stretch goals. They made a stretch goal of 500K. Google Assisted enabled. So if they reach 500K in pledges, we will allow our backers to unlock Google Assistant so that backers can control 2.0 with an additional voice AI. So basically, you're going to get Alexa and Google's whatever its named is, whatever. I don't like either one. Now, they didn't reach the $1 million mark, but the $1 million mark would have given backers a case and extra tips for the earpieces. But they came damn close. Alright, so anybody got any questions about these? Other than Searchies, will it be throttled, so we have to buy a new one? That, I don't think so. So, nobody has any questions. Murder. How has your recent gameplay been going since you've come back to World of Warcraft?
Pretty interesting. Still trying to figure out some of the new stuff.
Well, new stuff, yeah, I can see. That's, it's not difficult, but it is a bit challenging starting from level 1 again, even with heirlooms.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It goes pretty quick, though.
Yeah, I remember when it used to take, easy 48 hours of grinding to get from 1 to 80 without heirlooms because they were non-existent.
Oh, yeah.
And now that you have heirlooms, it'll probably take about the same amount of time, but you're grinding and, as long as you're using the buffs that are resting buffs that you get while you're in town, you log out in town or log out in an inn, and you get that resting buff, you can level pretty much a little bit faster. But running as a tank with Murder as my healer, we've been able to get a lot of dungeons done really quick because we're popping straight into dungeons where, the two biggest things that are needed are healers and tanks. DPS are a dime a dozen. Tanks and healers, not so much. Did you just side glance me? Listen here, DPS. But yeah, I mean, I personally, Murder got me my my month free. Well, he didn't get it for free; he paid for it, but I got it for free from him. And I've been enjoying going back to World of Warcraft. I do miss it. Kind of sucks that it's $15 a month, especially after you spend so much money buying the damn game.
Oh no.
But I mean, it's been a learning experience of going back to the days of when we started in vanilla. You know, with that first bit of grinding just to get to level 40, you know, just to get to that first milestone. I do miss the old tiers, trees, talent trees. The new talent trees are garbage. Ever since they came out with them was in, was it Warlords of Draenor? Yeah, Warlords of Draenor, they came out with that new tiering system and it sucked ass. You haven't played the Demon Hunter yet, have you?
Haven't played what?
The Demon Hunter?
No, not yet. Still waiting to figure out what server I'm gonna put that on.
Well, you can put them on any server, it doesn't matter. As long as it's got a level 7.
I still have my level 100 boost.
Well, your Demon Hunters start off at level 98.
I know, I'm saying I still have my level 100 boost, so I could put it on any server, even.
I got what you're saying now.
Boost 1 to 100 and then make a Demon Hunter.
I got what you're saying. Yeah, I got characters everywhere, seems like. I got one PvP, but the rest of them are PvEs. Not all of my characters are mine, some belong to my kids. Because before they had accounts, they were using my account. And so far, I haven't gone through and deleted their characters out yet. Because now they have their own account, I don't need their tunes on my account. Gain back some of my characters slots. I actually enjoyed the Demon Hunter. I kind of went tank with the Demon Hunter though. Just simply because that's normally what I play as tanks anyway. Blood DKs. I haven't played, I have, but I haven't really stayed with it. A Druid tank. It just wasn't my thing. Pally tank was my very first one. See, warrior tanks suck ass. They need to take that off the warriors. Warriors can't tank with the shit.
They're harder to heal.
They are. They're real hard to heal. They don't have any kind of real healing.
As a healer, like the biggest thing that I play are Pallies and Druids. Druids for healing, Pallies for tanking. As a healer, and my very first character I ever made back in Vanilla WoW was a priest. So I've been a healer the whole time. So as a lifelong healer, the easiest class, in my opinion, has always been the Pally. To be able to heal, they are way easier to heal as tanks.
Well, and they can almost heal themselves sometimes, depending on how they play.
Well, they've got so much damage mitigation and reduction and shields and healing abilities of their own. Yeah, you get a good healer, and I like Druids in particular because they have a lot of instants that don't require a lot of mana, so their mana pool lasts a whole lot longer. So, in my opinion, you get a Druid Pally combo, you're not killing them.
Yeah. Well, and
I've seen Druid Pally combos solo bosses in a dungeon because all the DPS has died.
Yeah. There was at a time when you had the old talent trees for the blood DKs, they were just as good as a Pally back in that day. Now, they're trash in comparison to, with the talent trees trade-off. I honestly think that the game is going the way of Roblox, if you ask me. It's for children. It's getting to that point because they're making it so damn easy. You might as well be having a kindergartner play your tank for you. Or your healer. Or your DPS. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they're making it too damn easy. You know, I remember when you had to do a quest, Hogger. Hogger was one of the quests where you actually needed 3 people to complete the quest because Hogger was so hard. And then right after Cataclysm came out, Hogger could be one person, bam, done. Even a mage or a priest, not even a shadow priest, we're talking a disc priest or something, could go in and take out Hogger with no problems. So I mean, they're making things way too easy. Everything that's for your quest kind of shines all over the place, so it's all shiny. You know exactly what you're picking up instead of clicking the whole damn map to find what you need. But anyway, if you peeps want to watch us play, we will be playing it in dual streams.
Yes, dual streams.
We're going to be doing our dual streams for it. Are you planning on doing any PvP while we're doing this?
Possibly.
Okay.
Let me get more levels into it so that I can build a decent DPS spec
Okay.
with probably with Feral, and then we'll see about it.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I'm going to be probably sticking with my tank. You know, just you know, that's how it is for me.
Yeah.
I play tanks, and I'm good at playing a tank. That's the thing. I'm really good at it, so I don't really like to change it up that much. But I have played a Pally healer, and holy balls, if you can get a Pally healer to, you know, just right, you can heal anybody at any time, and if they get into trouble, you've got that oh shit. What I call the oh shit button is a little macro I made that throws a couple of different things on your tank and keeps your tank from dying. You know, it's just Pally healers are underrated. Hell, I've even healed as a freaking warlock once.
Me and my nephew were playing. He was on his shaman. He started out as healer last night. I was on my Pally.
Oh shit.
And which worked out fine. We were good. He got bored of healing, so he's like, I want to switch DPS. Like, okay, that's fine. So he switched DPS. We go into a dungeon. I noticed on the damage meter that the priest was in the middle as far as damage goes, and I'm sitting there wondering why my health keeps dropping so low, and I had to use my shield at one point, and we got done with the fight, and I'm like, okay. I said, hold up, who's the healer? I knew who it was. The guy's like, oh, I am. I said, well, how about you do that and stop fighting? He's like, oh, somebody's salty. I said, no. We're all typing this out in chat, and I was like, no, not salty. I just want you to do your job. You signed up as a healer. Heal. Don't try to fight. And he said something else. And I told him, I said, or he said he knows how to do his job. I said, if you did, then our DPS wouldn't have to stop and heal because you can't keep up. So my nephew would have to stop fighting with his shaman and just throw whatever little heal he had as a DPS spec just so I wouldn't die, to help me keep up as I self-heal myself in the middle of these fights. And he's all bit, you suck as a tank. And I run into this one room in Stormwind Stockade, the one at the very end of that first hallway.
Yeah.
Pulled the entire freaking room. This is right after he told me, you suck as a tank. I pulled the entire room all at one time, tanked it, killed them all, healing myself. And I looked at him, I was like, yeah, I suck as a tank because we're still alive.
Yeah. When you were healing my tank, we had that one guy, that one DPS who kept running out there, that warrior, kept running out and pulling everything on top of what I was already pulling when he would run away when we were in Stockades. You remember that? I don't hear him. I think his headset died.
I'm sorry, I'm still here. Say it again.
Oh, okay. I was saying, do you remember when that warrior kept pulling all those guys from the side as I was pulling the room at the end? I pulled the room, and then he pulled those other guys coming in from the from the wings and shit. That ended up getting me killed.
Yeah, that's why I told you my bad. I wasn't able to keep up because he pulled too much stuff in.
Yeah, he did, and it wasn't your fault. It was his fault for not just. He's support.
Last night, before my nephew decided to go DPS while he was still healing, we went to where is it? We were in Wailing Caverns, I think it was. We had a warlock that kept wanting to pull stuff, and at first I thought he just accidentally aggroed a couple groups, so I'd jump in and grab him off of him and keep tanking. But then I noticed that he was running ahead and hitting stuff before the rest of us got there, and so I typed into instance chat where everybody could see it. I said, I think we need to let a warlock die. And the warlock, LOL, laughed. And sure enough, we get to the big bog lord looking boss. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right. So the Fang guy is right before him. That's in the same room with him.
Yep.
He pulls the small group to the right and the group around the chest, like hits them. And so I stopped. My nephew stopped next to me, and we both stood there and watched as everybody tried to fight, and the warlock died. So then I jumped in and took everything, and we killed it all. And my nephew rezzed him. Warlock runs over near the boss and stops and just stands there. I walked up next to him and I typed, "What, you don't want to pull this one too?" And my nephew just, he laughs. It was funny. He just stood there. I was like, "You keep pulling stuff, we're going to let you keep dying."
Yep. That's the good thing about running DPS, running a tank with a healer, especially if they're in the same group, from, their friends and stuff. It's always better to have it like that than, you get one healer who is from somewhere else. You don't even know him from Adam, and you got a tank who you don't know from Adam, and you got two different play styles going on at the same time. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. But you get some of those people that are impatient, which I get it. They're early dungeons, they're easy. They're not as easy as they used to be because they have changed some of it.
Yes, they have.
But you get some people that just want to get too far ahead, like the warlock, like that warrior. They just think, I'm gonna pull it, we'll keep going. So if you have the tank healer combo and you know each other, or you're in the same group and played together often, it sounds mean, but whatever, it's the truth. You can coordinate these people's deaths. Like, hey, y'all want to play out of what you signed up for? Warlock, you signed up as DPS, not as a tank. You want to be a tank? I'm gonna let you tank. Go ahead and hit it, and we're gonna stand here and watch you die, because the healer and the tank are working together. The healer isn't gonna heal you.
Yep. Well, that's
I'll do that quite a bit. If I see somebody playing out of role, out of what they signed up for, like with that warrior, he starts pulling too much stuff. You know what? I'm gonna let him pull it, and then my heals are only gonna go to you. I'm not touching him at all.
Yeah.
And I say, I'm enough of an asshole that when they die, I'm not rezzing you. You're gonna run back.
Definitely. So anyway, peeps, we will be back again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that we can pick up some more peeps from across the pond to come watch our show, so that they'll be home or off of work in time to actually come and see us. You guys are more than welcome to come back out and watch us do this again. So
yeah, if anybody's gonna stay on, I don't know what you got planned, Grim.
Well, we can, as soon as I'm done taking care of things here at the house, I'll hit you up and we'll start running some WoW, and we'll dual stream it.
Alrighty.
So, all right, peeps. I guess for right now, this is it. We do appreciate you guys for coming out. If you guys have questions about the show today, if you don't want them answered, come back tomorrow and ask us those questions tomorrow. Or throw them to us through Discord, or throw them through us through Twitch here. You know, you can always message us right through Twitch. You can ask either one of us pretty much anything, you know, that has to be tech related, or, you know, anything that's game related or things of the sort. We'll answer questions as best we can. Don't forget to hit the follow button. Hit the follow button on Murder. Hit the follow button on me, and hit the follow button on Searchy over there. And come watch us play our games. Come watch us, you know, make asses of ourselves sometimes, you know, because we do. And let's just hang out and have fun. So, for myself and for Mr. Murder, we thank you guys for stopping by. And it's like we always say, friends don't let friends game alone. Peace.